So this is our fifth episode for this year, and if you've missed some of the previous sessions, you can find the webinar recordings and presentation decks on Partner Central. So joining us today is a very familiar face, and he is none other than Chung Soon, our APAC pre-sales lead. So he will be talking about the oil and gas vertical solutions, and we'll also share the new MOTOTRBO R7EX. So before we start, note that all attendees are on listen-only mode. If you have any questions, please enter them in the Q&A box found on the bottom of your Zoom window. We will take the questions at the end of the presentation. So this session is recorded and will be made available to you on Partner Central in around 2 weeks' time. So I think we're ready to go. So the floor is yours, Kitsun. Take it away.
Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, so it's always good to be back on this webinar series, and we have 100+ people and still going up, yeah, in terms of the participants. Well done. Happy to have all the people across the region to join on this afternoon's call. Some of you maybe in the morning. Welcome again, right? So again, today we are going to dive into a topic that is a little bit on the heavy side, yeah. When I say heavy means it requires a little bit more understanding in terms of the industry standards and all that. Now, it took me a while to kind of understand this across my years in Motorola, working with the product team, with the engineering team, and then with the sales side, yeah. And I'm trying to condense all this within the 1 hour time frame, yeah. So that's the objective. Now, I think oil and gas is kind of like a big topic in across APAC. We have a lot of countries who deals with oil and gas, and this particular session, yeah, we're gonna dive in a little bit to understand what it means to have the right equipment in the safety standard standpoint. What are the safety standards that are available within Asia, and what are the different types of classification that we are looking at, right? Now, off the first chart here, we see has log. Yeah, this is kind of the word that we use, hazardous location, and it kind of brings us to the whole idea about oil and gas where things are dangerous, it's kind of explosive, right? So if we look at oil and gas, just a little bit about the vertical is that we do have different parts of the whole process, from the area of exploration, finding out where are the pockets of oil content, yeah, within the underground, under the sea, and then to drilling, to a process of pulling out all the oil and gas, and then transporting it, right, to kind of having the pipelines to distribute it to refineries, after refinery, and kind of bring it across the different location, right? So refinery is one of the key process where different countries within the region again has different establishment. Here in Singapore, we do have some of our refinery at the Jurong Island. We know Indonesia has a lot of this. We know Malaysia has this as well. So these are some of the installation. It takes years to kind of build up this kind of facility, and it will run 24/7. And a lot of this location, it is very dangerous in a sense because they do produce dangerous gas. And then of course, the last kind of one of our other stage is kind of the storage, right? So we do have a lot of all this storage. Singapore as well, Malaysia, right? So this picture is one of the installation in Malaysia, and we kind of go to the next one is where again we see ships, tankers shipping the goods around in a tanker ship within the region. And again, all these are all part of the oil and gas ecosystem. Now, in my years of working in Motorola, I do have experience going on board of some of these facility, been to a few refineries, been to oil rigs in the middle of the ocean, been to some of these ships, and to be able to see what's going on. A lot of times when we are there, we are able to experience and to feel, to understand what is the scenario, what's the environment, so that we can provide them with better solutions. In our case, better communications, better safety equipments, better safety standards. Now, talking about safety, a lot of the times when we look at their personnel, they do have all this equipment standard, yeah. Whichever company that's dealing with oil and gas, we see all this across. safety helmets, goggles, the vest, fire retard vest, the safety shoes, and then sometimes they have earplugs because if the noise level is too high, they will wear earplugs. And of course, communication, which is radio per se, yeah, because a lot of times when we go into this area, we are not allowed to bring our phones, partly because of security in terms of privacy, and also these equipments are not approved to be used in this kind of environment. So here we come. When we talk about approved in terms of safety, what is all this about? What is all this explosion proof, intrinsically safe? We hear all this terminology a lot when it comes to oil and gas, right? So today we're gonna try to understand, peel this a little bit more. Now, first step first, we need to realize in the global market, there are a couple of standards that is available in the oil and gas safety. Number one, if you look at the chart here, the most far left, this is what we call as the ATEX certification. This is based out of the Europe. They use ATEX in European region. For international market, they will call this as IECEX. So this is one of the body that regulates the safety standards of equipment that is used in a dangerous environment, yeah, hazardous location. So keep that in mind first. ATEX, IECEX, this is one body, one of the standards available in Europe, yeah, coming out from Europe. Now, our friend in the US, they don't adopt the IECEX standards per se. They don't recognize ATEX, they don't recognize IECEX. Instead, they have their own in-country standards that regulates all this. So one of the standards that we see a lot is the division base, which is we have a few bodies or few standards. FM used to be one of the popular ones back in the 90s and the early 2000s. And then we have UL, Underwriters Laboratories, which is also very popular. They are one of the safety standards and also testing house that is based out of the US. Now, having said these two, yeah, these are the two giant, I would say, standards that's available. Again, a lot of confusion we hear in the market is that if I have a ATEX, can I use the UL standard to replace it or to submit for this, right? So there's a lot of questions about, can we substitute the standards based on each other, yeah, the European and the US. Now, the quick answer is no, we cannot do that. Yeah, the answer is no, we cannot do that because this is like comparing apple to orange. Yeah, it is two different standards. We cannot mix and match per se. Now, why is that so? I'm just gonna illustrate this reason with you. Yeah, I'm just gonna use this as a discussional point, case study per se. This is like a refueling area. So a pump station, for example, a petrol kiosk, petrol station. We have the tankers, the truck tankers coming in to refill, right, the petrol to the station, and at the location we have vehicles coming up to pump petrol as well. So this is a very common kind of environment that we experience almost day to day. Yeah. Now we see the word here. There are two words here: division and zone. Yeah, zone and division. Now, what these two words are? These are the keywords that detects the location. Yeah, what is the environment like? Yeah, so when we say division one, this is signifying one type of location. We say zone 0, zone 1, this is another what do you call that, classification of location. Yeah, it's a classification. Now let's take the European standard first. So in the eyes of ATEX, yeah, if we approach with using the ATEX kind of approach, we will be using the word zone. Okay, so as you can see, there are 3 different segments, 3 different locations to this picture here. The first one is an area where we have all 100% of the time, the dangerous gas is present. So, which means areas where we store the gas, the underground tank, yeah, the tank in the truck, that is the area that 100% of the time there is dangerous gas. So this is what we call as the first, this is the first category of location. The next category is where the vehicle pulls up and pump the petrol. So sometimes there will be dangerous gas. Sometimes there will not be any dangerous gas. So where the car comes up and pump, there it has dangerous gas. When the car done the job of pumping, move away, there's no gas presence per se. So in this area is sometimes, not 100% of the time. Yeah, if we compare with the tanker, this is 100% of the time. So we see these are two different scenario already. And then the third area is areas that are further away, which by default, there should not be any gas presence by default. Yeah, with a normal condition, the gas should not be there. The gas will only appear if there is a problem. There's a fault, there's a leakage, there's some issue. Yeah, maybe the gas will leak over to the area. So in this scenario, in this example, areas that are further away from the gas station. So those we can classify them as this particular location, which most of the time by default, there is no dangerous gas. It only occurs if there's something wrong. Yeah. So we can see 100% of the time, half the time, none of the time it should not present. So there are three different categories in this chart alone. Yeah. So if we were to look from the apex view, how would they classify this? They will classify this area, the tanker, yeah, 100% of the time, as zone 0. Areas where sometimes there is gas, there's no gas, they will classify this as zone 1. And then area that should not have the gas on normal day-to-day, that they classify as zone 2. Yeah, so you can see that it's a very systematic in the eyes of the ATEX, yeah, IECX. When we say zone 1, we know what it means, this area. When we say zone 0, we know it's the tanks, yeah. Zone 2, it's outside, we know. Now, let's look from this, look at the same scenario, but from the US standard. Now we take a different lens, we look at it. In the US version, in the US eyes, there's only division 1 and division 2, which means division 1 can include the tanker inside the tank and also the area that is doing the pumping activity, which sometimes they have, sometimes they don't have. And then areas that's further out, they call it as division 2, which means in the US, it's more simplified in a way. Anywhere that has potential of gas, they will just call it as division 1. Yeah. And then anywhere that not supposed to have the gas, they call it division 2. So from this very example, we already see a big difference how the classification are done. Because when it comes to zone 0, it's also division 1. There's no such thing as division 0. Yeah. So when we say division 1, we can't define this in the ATEX world because it could mean zone 0, it could mean zone 1. So as we can see from here, it's not apple to apple comparison already. Yeah. Now let's move on. This is what I just explained. When we look at the word division, zone, this is talking about the location. What is the probability of having the explosive environment at a particular time, right? So of course, there are this measurement. How do we classify the zone 0, zone 1, zone 2, division 1, division 2, right? So this is the definition of it. Now, having said all this, which is why in IECX, there's a whole bunch of classification. And then for division base, another different class of certification. That's why when we look at the rating, they look very different. Yeah, the alphabets, the numbers, everything is all representing different thing. Now, again, on this chart, I just want to point out very high level. In each of these, what do you call that, ratings, there are 3 categories. I'm trying to break this out to bite size so that when we look at this, we kind of know how to interpret the ratings. So we have gas, we have dust, we have mining. So there are 3 different categories. So it depends on the customer. If you're dealing with gas, then they will observe the gas rating. If they're dealing with dust, they will look at the dust. Yeah, if they need to look at mining, then they'll look at the mining side of things, right? So again, there are these 3 different parameters. So with our understanding, with our awareness that there are 3 different things, it helps us to understand the standard better. Now, having said that, from a ATEX standpoint, we just introduced the new R7EX radio into the market as of this month. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we just got the ship acceptance. That means it's ready for shipment. So for different countries within Asia, we know that some countries we need to do type approval. It really depends on the type approval as we speak. A lot of these activities are going on. So if you are interested in getting this new R7EX, reach out to our in-country sales, find out the timing, when will it be available, and we can kind of get them. Yeah. So this is new, fresh out of the oven. Now, when we see this blue radio for Motorola, it always signifies the ATEX radio from a DMR radio standpoint. Yeah, because I know Tetra uses different color, they use red color and all that, but for DMR, we stick to this very nice blue color radio. So from far, when you look at it, straight away, you can tell that this is the ATEX radio. So again, coming to the standards, different countries in Asia, again, we do have in-country safety bodies. So for example, in Korea, KCS, right? In India, we have the PESO, which has a local certification. Yeah, in China, we have CQST. Different countries, again, different. Not all countries, certain countries. So again, a lot of this in-country safety body, they would reference to one of the international standard and kind of adopt those standards. They may change a little bit here and there to suit the local usage, but in essence, they kind of recognize the IECX, for example, as one of the bodies as a compliance. So for example, like PESO, they will look at our IECX certification, and then they would kind of agree to certain things, and then they would give their PESO certification to the model based on our approval from IECX, right? So for example, in that case. So with that, we have taken care of most of a country that has all these in-country requirements, so that on day one, we don't have to do more to kind of submit to all this certification. Now, again, if you look at the radio, we have 2 version. One is the display and one is a non-display. And if we all remember, we have the previous model, which is the P86 series, which is the P8668EX, ATEX. That is going to be discontinued, yeah, in the near future, and it's going to be kind of replaced by this model. Now, off here, we see the standards here. This is 2C gas rating. Now, one of the other key thing we see here is the 2-watt power transmission. We're going to talk about that in a while, yeah? So let's dive into the standards first, the ratings. Over here, I'm just going to look at the gas standard, yeah? So from a gas standpoint, we are 2G EX, IB, 2C, T4, GB. Now, there are a few key things that we need to look at it, yeah? So number one, how do we know if this is a gas standard? It's referenced by this 2G, yeah, gas, G for the gas. And then we will jump to this gas group. So these are another key specs that we will look at. A lot of customers will look at. It dictates what type of gas can be approved for this environment. So ours, we are at 2C, which is the most stringent of all. We have 2A, 2B, 2C, right? If you look at the full chart of the safety requirement, 2A, 2B, 2C, 2C is up to hydrogen and acetylene, which is the highest. There's no 2D, no 2D such thing, right? If you look at the full chart, there's no 2D per se. 2C is the last highest standard, right? And then the next one is the temperature. This is another key parameter which are very important. T4 means that the surface temperature will not exceed a certain limit. In this case, 135. So the higher the T, yeah, T4, T5, T6, right, the more safe it gets. So T4 is already relatively quite good. Yeah, a lot of equipment's requirement. The most they will go is T4 requirement. So that is how we kind of look at the ICX. Now here, this is a chart to explain more. So gas group, just now we talked about, we are at 2C. So there's no such thing as 2D, yeah? So 2C, that's the end of the chart. And then when we look at the temperature, T4, this is 135. Now again, not to be confused, the higher the number, the less safe it gets. Yeah, I repeat again, the higher the number, the less safe it is. Because if we are at T1, 450 degrees Celsius, it means that the device that we are holding on, yeah, let's say the radio we're using, it is capable of or heating up to 450 Celsius, which is very hot, very dangerous, right? You want to bring a hot device into a dangerous gas environment, that's a bad idea, right? Because it may trigger explosion. So by having a T4, we are keeping the temperature down to 135. Yeah, nothing more than that. So again, if you look at T4, this is one of the good benchmark already. Yeah. Then we talk about some of the radio's other safety feature. These are all the feature sets that we put into the radio to enhance safety. Number one, fall alert, as we know it as man down, same thing. Lone worker, emergency button. These are all related to emergency calls to alert the other workers or the other colleagues on the radio. If there is an incident that happened, you need to have a emergency signal that transmit into the radio system. This can be done. Yeah. So lone worker means when there's no one pressing an activity, yeah, you get this inactive duration for a period of time, then it kind of triggers. Yeah. Fall alert, we know it. It's the angle of the radio. When someone falls down, it detects the orientation, and if that person doesn't get up, let's say after 1 minute or 2 minutes, depending on the setting, it will kind of send the emergency alert. What is new on this radio compared to the previous 86 series? We are now having Bluetooth, right? GPS was there in the past. Now we added Bluetooth because we know that some customers, they need to do indoor location tracking and all that. So this is now built into the radio. The other enhancement, when we look at the overall durability, this is again, we take the chance to improve on the hardware. Now, the last PS668EX has been around for more than 10 years, around there. Yeah, I remember back then I was still on the product team. I was doing all the ATEX certification, so that was quite some time back. Yeah, and with this new one, we take the chance to kind of improve on the IP rating. IP68 is very common today, but yeah, without a lot of people not aware, IP66 is not that common. Yeah, IP66. So what is IP66? IP66 is high pressure jet water. So IP66 is high pressure jet water. Now, just to share, having IP68 does not mean that we pass IP66. Doesn't mean that the number is bigger, then it kind of supersedes the rest. No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. So these are all independently tested, independently approved. IP68 does not mean that you have IP66. Because based on our experience, if we take the older radios, if you go and test IP, if you pass IP68 and you subject that to IP66, it may not pass IP66. Yeah, because the pressure water is harder to kind of protect against, right? Water may seep in. So with this new one, we have improved all the way. IP66, 67, 68, we have all the approvals. Yeah. When it comes to the operating temperature, again, we have the full range, right? Now, the part I want to talk about this is the disinfecting and decontamination housing. So over the past COVID, we kind of learned that hygiene is one of the important things. That's why we kind of added the new approval per se, yeah, a new test method to make sure that our radios can withstand alcohols, the cleaning, what they call it, detergent and all that, to make sure that the plastic can withstand that kind of chemical. Yeah, because we share radio, we want to make sure that we wipe it and we want to make sure that it's clean. So again, one more thing, if you look at the ergonomics, if we compare with the previous model, the 86 series, we have improved the usability from mechanical design standpoint as well. The top view, if you look at the knobs, it is further away so that if you're wearing glove, it's still easy to access and make changes or setting on the knobs and the channel location. Yeah, we made the angle so that it's easier to access. If you can see on the picture, you can see very clearly that it has more space to use without accidentally adjusting the other knobs. Yeah. So the other one is the audio performance. So we have put in learnings, some of the key advancement on the R7 as well. We put it over to have better noise suppression, louder speaker amplifier to make it louder, right? So these are the things that we can do. So background noise suppressor, we have the AI train, which is we just released on the R7 as well. So these are ported over to the R7EX as well. Loudness, this is again one of the key feedback we always hear from our users, because oil and gas is a heavy industry. Trust me, yeah, I've been there a few times, and the moment we step into a refinery, the platform, all we hear is constant background noise from the engine, from the machines, yeah, pumps, whatever, right? So we always hear the sound, the noise at the back. So having loud audio, it helps in terms of the user sometimes, yeah, to be able to hear, at least there's voice coming out, there's somebody's trying to talk, you can kind of hear the audio. So we have increased the power of the audio to 2.5 watt. So in the past, it used to be 500 milliwatts only, 500 milliwatts. So we are putting out 5 times more power, 2.5 watt of power in terms of the audio. So again, if you look at the knobs here, there is a change enhancement as well. If you turn the knobs all the way to the top, and then you will hear a click that you will go into this extra loud mode that you can go into. We call it the boost mode. Yeah. So just simply go into the channel knob. Once you hear a click at the end, you're in the extra loud boost mode in the sense. Over here, we do have the same feature that was introduced in the R7. The last 5 calls that was incoming is all recorded. You can kind of hear and play back this voice. Yeah. Now this is meant for users to hear back if they miss a call or they didn't hear properly, they can go back and play it on the device, right? So maximum 2 minutes per call, last 5 calls. So as you get new calls coming in, you will keep overriding the calls. Yeah. So again, this is not meant for voice recording per se. It is more for reference purpose. And then, of course, we talk about Bluetooth. Now we incorporate the 5.2, which has more security and more capability in terms of pairing and all that. Yeah. Wi-Fi, this is also new. In the previous model, 86 series, we do not have Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi, again, what's the purpose? It is mainly for software updates. As we know, in MOTOTRBO digital radios, we do have firmware updates every 2 or 3 months. Yeah, in a year, we have 2 or 3 different updates for different new enhancements. Sometimes, yeah, there'll be new features available. Each of these firmware pack can be quite large. 100 meg, 200 meg sometimes. So it is important for us to be able to have a broadband to download all this data to the device. So Wi-Fi is one of the ways, the most easy way for us to download and upgrade the device in the field. Yeah, otherwise you gotta bring them back, you gotta collect them back to the office, and then one by one update. Yeah, so that would be quite painful in terms of maintaining the system, right? So this will help in terms of having the Wi-Fi. The next thing is RFID. We know that in the recent years, we have introduced more and more workflows using RFID. So for example, body-worn camera. Yeah, so those who have experienced the body-worn camera, we use RFID to deploy the camera. So in this case, if we install the RFID tag, NFC tag, yeah, we can use this to deploy the body-worn camera if we need to. Yeah, so this is kind of like a good way of connecting the two systems together. Now, of course, body-worn camera is just one of the example. We can always do asset tracking. So you can install your own reader, and then when uses the radio, they can scan in, scan out. It will lock in the user's profile onto the radio, and then they can use it. And when they pass on to the next person, they can lock off and lock in again, right? So all this can be done. We can reach out to Smart PTT TurboNet on the console side to develop this lock-in, lock-out capability, right? So we know some customers has implemented this, and it helps them to maintain their fleet of radios. Very useful. And then, of course, if you look at the radio, we have a dedicated area on the side of the radio for us to stick some of the labels, right? I know in the field, we have people who wants to identify their radio, so they'll put a sticker, put a label or something. So we do have an area to make sure that you can put the labels safely, right? So again, when it comes to label, we need to make sure that those materials are approved, right? Because we cannot just anyhow put a, a different type of label. It may void the safety requirement. Okay, so these are all very important. Just to have a quick reminder again, the old system, we have all the systems that's available in the MOTOTRBO, from IP Site Connect, Cat Plus, right, to a Cat Max. So the R7EX supports all systems across. So tier 2, tier 3, all covered, yeah, all supported. Now, let's pause here and then take a different lens again. We talk about the European standard IECX ATEX so far, which is the R7EX. Now, what about the US standard? Okay, so in the US standard, we use the word division 1, all right? And then the concept is still the same. The next thing we talk about is the class, which is the gas group. Class 1 is for the gas, right? Class 2 is for the what do you call that? The dust, right? And then class 3 is for some of the fabric, right? So, and if we look at all these class again, we have the table to signify what does it mean, what are the gas group available and all that. So division, right? Go back to just now, division. Division is the location, the situation. Is it always have dangerous gas, or is it sometimes, or is it don't have, right? So this is the location. And then we talk about the class, which is the gas group. So here we go. When we say class 1, this is really about the gases. So we have to dive in again. What are the gas group? So A, B, C, and D. So in our case, we are division 1, class 1, group C and D. So we are having the ether and the hydrocarbons. So as you can see, the TIA-based kind of radios that we have, we do not have hydrogen. So we cannot use this in a hydrogen environment. Yeah, we cannot use. And then when it comes to class 2, we have all the dust, E, F, G, all covered. And then class 3, there's only one, yeah, textile and wood debris, all right? So we are covered. So for division 1, we have all the things except for class A and class B of the gas, acetylene, hydrogen, we cannot use, yeah, for this this kind of environment, right? But for the rest, yes. And then when we go to division 2, then of course we have all the gas group A, B, C, D all the way, all right? Because division 2 is less of a risk because by default, the gas should not be there. That's what the definition is, right? So again, for the customers that can adopt the US standard, the division base, we have the R5, which was introduced this year as well. Now, R5, as we call it, the mid-tier radio, yeah, is kind of supporting the IS certification of a division 1. We have all these class as well. So division 1, look at it, yeah, div 1 class, the group is C, D, E, F. So the gas and the dust. When it comes to division 2, location that is less risky, then we can cover all the gas group A, B, C, D. All right, so this is how we interpret. Hopefully by hearing this now, when you look at all this rating, it helps you to understand a little bit better, yeah, to be able to interpret this intelligently. What does it mean by division one, right? What does it mean by zone one? What does it mean by guest group? Yeah, what does it mean by 2C? So it gives us an idea. So again, R5, this is a mid-tier. It supports all the DMR tier 2 systems and then all the way to capacity plus. Now, if we ask, what about CapMax tier 3? Again, we just want to remind all of us, we have the R7. Again, the same safety standards, right? Division 1, Division 2, gas CDEF from Division 1, and then Division 2 is Group ABCD, right? So if you need capacity max and you need IS standards Division 1, go for the R7, which we have introduced for 2 years plus right now. Yeah. So I think most of us on this call should be kind of aware of R7. Now, if you need a lower tier, something that is up to Cap Plus, we can consider the R5 because it has that certification as well. So again, yeah, just a recap for R7 all the way to capacity max. So we are working on some opportunity where refineries, again, they need to have all the gas group, they need the 5-watt transmission, 4 watts transmission, high power. They need all the way to gas group C, then we can use the R7 per se. So with that, I've come to the end of the presentation. 40 minutes, open up for Q&A right now.
Yep, thank you, Kitsun. So, partners, any questions regarding today's presentation, oil and gas, vertical solutions, or the new MOTOTRBO R7EX? So, okay, Kitsun, we have this question regarding the FKP model. So, is it only available in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi only?
Correct. So the first question is on the SKU, right? So it all comes standard, yeah? That means all Bluetooth Wi-Fi, right? So there's no option that, oh, I want this, I want that. In a sense, it's all one package per se. Yeah, because if you look at ATEX, this is not easy to approve different types of radio models per se, because each of these requires its own certification per se. Yeah. Okay, thanks for the
Okay.
question.
Right. What about the output power? Is it at 2 watts?
That's right. Yeah. So if sharp eyes, the previous models that we introduced is only 1 watt, the 86 series. Now for this new R7EX, we managed to push it up to 2 watts. So if you look at our product brochure, it is all mentioned as 2 watts, which means that right now you'll be able to have higher range, yeah, longer range compared to the previous one.
And then something about the antenna gain. Is it still a nominal 2 dB?
Okay, for this, the antenna is pretty much no change in a sense. Yeah. It really depends because we do have a few options that's available on the antenna. So do look at our brochure, look at the part numbers, stubby versus the long ones. Yeah. Stubby typically will give you less range because it's shorter, but it gives you more mobility per se. Yeah.
Okay. Now jumping back to the watt question, right? So it's 2 watts and certified as 2C, not 2B?
2C.
2C.
2C. 2C, 2 watts. Yeah.
Okay. And will there be a lower spec, like a 4-watt unit available?
Okay. At the moment, we do not have this, but okay, so some of you may go to the website and you may see that, hey, there's a 2A model with 4 watts, right? That is available in the Europe, but not in Asia, right? So again, if you have a strong request, do reach out to us. We can always look into this, yeah, to see if we can make it available here, right? So to answer, if you are right, if you go to Europe, they do offer the 2A lower rating, but higher power. So to us, to be honest, in Asia Pac, for those market, typically they will go for Division 1. Yeah, because in the history in the past many years, most customers they are happy with the Division 1 4 watts kind of output power.
Okay, so does this R7EX also come in like a VHF and 350 megahertz?
Okay, to answer the band, today we have UHF, right? Because this is one of the key ones. VHF will be coming, but not so soon. What I heard is probably a year down the road. So that will be the VHF. In the time being, if you need, you will have to continue to purchase the 86 series, which we are still available. Yeah, there's no cancellation per se. So the VHF, you have to wait. Otherwise, we have to use the 86 series currently. 350 meg, however, there's no plan for 350 meg. Now, the reason for this is because if we look at ATEX, IECX, this is mainly driven by European region, Europe. Europe has the largest number of shipment in terms of ATEX. So the whole portfolio is dictated by Europe. The reason why we get UHF and VHF is because these two bands are also being shipped in Europe. Unfortunately, 350, Europe does not have this band. So therefore, there is no development plan per se. Yeah.
So pardon me, it's is it 400?
400, yeah. The
Yeah,
UHF 400
okay.
meg, yeah.
Okay, 400 UH. Okay. And can you confirm whether R7EX is okay for hydrogen, but not the standard R7?
That is correct. Because if you look at our 7 standard, that is division 1, the gas group is only up to the ether, right? There's no class A, group A and B, right? So for the division base, high power, the R7 standard black model, that is high power, 4 watts, 5 watts. For that, we cannot use for hydrogen because it doesn't approve. Whereas if you look at R7EX, that is a class 2C in the ATEX world, which qualifies all the way to hydrogen. The power is lower down to 2 watts. Yeah, it kind of meets that requirement. Now, to answer this question further, right? To answer this question further, the best way for us to approach the customer is we show them what product we have, what standards we have accordingly. R7 with the division 1, yeah, class 2C and all that, right? And then we show them the R7EX, yeah, zone 1 class, yeah, the group 2C. Then you ask the customer which is appropriate or which is the one that you can use. Please go ahead and make your own choice, right? Because the approach is we do not know what the customer's environment is. They should know their own environment. What is the safety requirement they need? So they should be telling us whether they can accept the radio or not. Not for us to propose, right? Because if we propose and we do not know their environment, and if something happened, we will be liable because they will say that, hey, you proposed this to me, and then now we have a problem, right? But it should be the other way around. It should be coming from a customer to accept the solution that we have to offer. So we have both, Mr. Customer, you choose for yourself.
All right. And then the next question is about wave PTX. So can R7EX use wave PTX? And
Okay.
yeah, and also with the recent update, adding wave PTX support to R7, will the R7EX also get the support?
Okay, good question. Now we know that the latest firmware we allow the R7, yeah, the non-ATEX, yeah, R7 to have the Wave client. It's already available right now, right? Now for R7EX, we have not done it yet, but it should be coming in the future. Please reach out to us if you have an urgent need. We would like to understand more on your opportunity. Yeah. Then at least we can help to prioritize some of these things.
Okay. And then this question is on R7EX. Are they all MED, whale marked certified for supply in all
Okay,
regions?
this is coming from the ship industry. MED, the wheel mark means the ship steering. Yeah. If I'm not wrong, we should have that, but let me confirm. We take it offline, yeah? So if I'm not wrong, we should have some of these things because we've been pushing for this for a while, yeah?
Right. Okay, just to reconfirm again, the frequency range for R7EX.
Okay.
What's the frequency range? Yeah.
Okay, so it should be 400 to, let me look at the slides. Yeah, it's all mentioned there earlier in the top. Okay, here we go. 400 to 470.
Okay. All right. So any plans to launch 800 megahertz?
No plans, because this is not required for Europe. Yeah,
Okay, got it. Okay,
I
and
can
then there's
see
this
India is
question.
asking for
Yeah.
the 800 meg. Yeah, India. Because I understand 800 is one of the operators band, and India we recognize IECX and peso, right? I understand. Yeah, the
Yes, it's
motivation behind that.
not so knowledgeable, just by looking at the questions, which country is asking that. Right. Okay, so what this question regarding the RFID. So does the RFID and the NFC of the R7EX obtain information through reading by others, or can
Okay. No,
R7EX read others? Yeah.
okay. The tag that we have is a passive one. So these are meant to be read by active readers. So there's no active NFC or RFID reader on the radio. It's a passive tag, right? So passive means it is being read by other reader. Yeah.
Okay. And then again, regarding the device, is there a non-keypad version, and this non-keypad version doesn't have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi?
It comes in a standard package. I think it all comes with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi.
Okay. And this question regarding accessories, what accessories like, headsets, remote speaker,
Mm-hmm.
microphone, carrying case are fully compatible with the
Okay.
P8668EX?
Very good question. I didn't bring up the accessory question, yeah, but if we were to go and look at the brochure and the price page and all that, we do have a list of approved accessory. Now, this is important because accessories need to be approved with the right solution, with the radio, in order to be certified as a system. Now, this is a very common, I would say, danger mistake that people assume that if I buy the radio and if I buy a third party accessory, yeah, which is also ATEX, and then I use them together. The answer is actually these are not certified together as a system, right? So it has to be all in one, approved, then it is safe to be used, right? Because end of the day, we are talking about liability and all that, right? So all this has to be tested together and approved together.
Okay. Uh, and just a question on whether the uh, XIRP8668EX and the R7EX battery and charger, are they the same?
Okay, the batteries are obviously different, yeah, because the form factor is different, so you can't reuse. Chargers, if I remember correctly, you can reuse. Yeah, it's the same charger.
Okay. And then I believe you have gone through this, but maybe just to reiterate, is there man down feature available?
Yes. So if you do a word search man down, it will not appear because they kind of I don't know who made the decision to call it as fall alert. So
There we go.
look out for the word fall alert. It's the same feature,
Mm,
man down.
righty. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's this question regarding, what distinguishes the radio from explosion proof? Is it the components and packaging, or, something
Oh
else?
wow, 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 wow. Okay, okay. This is the next level question, yeah. It's a lot of factor. Number one is the design of the radio, the design to limit certain amount of current, temperature, right? There's also assembly technique that we need to encapsulate certain components so that it doesn't expose to the air, yeah, to the environment. It has component of the material, the housing material that is not supposed to cause any static ESD, yeah, sparking, right? That kind of environment where you rub a plastic and then sometimes it create ESD, right? So that's all part of the requirement, right? There's a lot of testing. They run this through the lab. They look at the thermal imaging, the temperature. So to answer that, there's a lot of criteria. The submission document is about 1,000 pages. Yeah, a very thick
Oh,
document.
wow. Okay. All right. Okay, so do we have R7EX in band 2 UHF?
No, we don't. Now it's only UHF1. So
Okay.
again, if you have specific requirement, reach out to us. We would like to understand the opportunity more. And if we see any opportunity to put in some of these things, we may do so on behalf, yeah, if we understand
Oh,
the requirements.
right. So that goes to be the same for the rest of the frequency in that sense.
The
Like if you
band,
have any
yeah,
requests,
correct.
yeah, the band, yeah, just let us
Band
know.
question.
Yes. Okay. So regarding programming of the device,
Hmm.
do we use the CPS2 or RM?
Okay, so the answer is you can use either or. Both is supported.
Okay. Is there an intrinsically safe explosion-proof certificate in Japan?
In Japan, this we have to work with the in-country because typically when
Mm.
we talk about IECX or whatever, we have one general cert from the agency, yeah, from IECX and all that, right? So now when it comes to Japan, if we talk about in-country, then we have to refer to the in-country submission, if whether we have those approved or not. Just like India peso, right? We got that approved. So that is available if we need the in-country ones we have. So for Japan, let's double click again to check what is the status of that. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay, so this is a question about the beacons. So which BLE beacon, IECX rated, are certified for use in Australia?
So we don't have information on that because those are considered as third party. So we really need to kind of work separately to source it locally to see. As long as it has the ICX certification, it should be able to use it in the environment. And then the radio will pick up the Bluetooth. So I saw Hamish request for band 2. Okay, noted.
All right. Okay, there's this question regarding the temperature. So what is the minimum surface temperature with respect to gases?
So we don't specify that because the lower the temperature, obviously is more safe, right? So we only state the worst case scenario, which is T4 in the case of I was it 135 degree or something. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, 135. And that is the important parameter that we are looking at. Most customers, and when you look at the safety side of things, that would be the consideration. Worst case scenario. They don't care what's the lowest, yeah, because lowest can be as low as what 10 degree, 0 degree, depending on the environment, right? So that is not the important thing. The lower the temperature is safer, right?
Okay. So there's this question regarding the division one. It
Mm-hmm.
is UL standard, but does not cover zone 0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yep, we want to expand
Okay,
on
I
that.
see the question. Yeah. Now, when we say zone 0, this is really on the IECX, right? Nothing to do with division 1 per se, because like I said, we cannot compare them apple to apple. It's apple and orange. So zone 0, we do not develop any zone 0 radios simply because we don't see the application in the market. I know some competitor, they produce zone 0, so to claim that it is more safe, but in a practical world, to have a zone 0 means that you are actually going into the gas tank and using your radio inside there with the gases. So to us, it is just impossible, right? It doesn't make sense, right? So which is why we never took the effort or the interest to approve it as zone 0. We don't see the point of it, right? Now, I know some competitor does it. To be honest, to me, it's more of a marketing gimmick. It's more of a marketing, um, a way to market themselves to be safe, right? To be over the level. But if you go to the ground, customer's location, today we do not see anybody that is using the radio in a zone 0 per se. Zone 0 means you are actually holding the radio inside the gas tank. I'm not talking
Oops.
about empty gas tank, yeah? It's a full filled gas tank.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah, nobody will do that. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so regarding the power option, does R7EX have power option of 1 watt or 2 watt, or is it just 2
Okay.
watt?
We can still select the power. So just like a typical radio, you have a low power, high power. So you can set the low as 1 and then the high as 2. Yeah. So the answer is yes.
Okay, and then there's this question regarding the compliance. Can we say that our R7 is complying with the atmosphere of the gases that are in the C and D group?
Okay. So again, go back to the certification. Depends on the division. Is it division 1 or division 2, right? If it's division 1, the gas, again, if you look at the rating, okay, I'm just gonna go to the division 1 rating again. Oh, okay, here we go. So if you're talking about division 1, then it's group C and D on the gas. And if you're talking about division 2, then it covers A, B, and C, D. Yeah.
Okay. So there's this question regarding the audio. So audio output and the loudness, how are they related?
Well, we use this kind of interchanging, right? So loudness, that's what we kind of meant, right? So the higher the power, it will translate to louder audio. So in this case, how we measure based on the power, the audio output, which is 2.5 watt.
Okay. And should the partners or customers have any issues with the device, what is the estimated duration for the repairs, if you know?
Okay, so if we talk about IS and ATEX, it will take longer time because the service center will requires to be certified by the safety agency as well. So which means a lot of our service centers in the field, especially with our partners, which are not certified, that means they are not approved to service the radio. So in the case, it has to be sent back to Motorola approved service centers, approved by the safety bodies in order to service them, yeah, to repair, to take out the boards and swap or whatever, right? So it will take longer time. So with this question, yeah, it brings up an opportunity for us to work together because at the end of the day, we are all about helping each other, yeah, for our business. We may need to think about maybe having spare radios out in front. I don't know, right? To be able to cut short some of this delay. Now, a lot of the delay comes from logistics. It's about shipping the radio in, clearing customs, and all this and that, right? So to mitigate that, if we can have some spare units in the field, yeah, work with our sales guy, right? See if we can get more units available to stand by, and then we can quickly service our customers on the ground faster. Then it's a win-win for us, right? You get happy customers, you get more business. We are able to get your help to solve some of this logistics problem, which there's nothing much we can do about. Yeah, these are all out of some of our control. Yeah, good
Yep.
question.
All right. Cool. Okay, maybe just one last question because we are actually over the hour.
Oh, wow.
Can you elaborate on the AI noise suppression? Does it require
Hmm.
any Wi-Fi to be connected to
No.
for it to
Yeah,
work?
yeah. So this AI train is on-prem. That means once you have this feature, you can use it anywhere without any Wi-Fi connection, without any internet connection per se. Yeah. So when we say AI train, which means that the software is already gone through the learning. It has a pre-train, right? That's what we call train. Yeah. It knows how to differentiate certain types of noise, vehicle, engine, or whatever, and it kicks
Mm.
in the noise suppression faster, right? So that's the outcome that you'll get.
Okay, so I think, yeah, we were over the hour. So thank you, Kitsun, and thank you, channel partners, for joining us today. We hope the session has been useful and has given you a deeper insight into solutions for oil and gas vertical and how the new MOTOTRBO R7EX can work for your oil and gas customers. So, if you still have any questions, or want more information regarding this device, please do reach out to your channel account managers. Once again, the recording and the presentation that will be available on Partner Central, so do check in. So we shall conclude here. See you in the next Learning Hour episode in September. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.